You ready for your headliner? Yeah. I want y'all to put your hands together for Josh Johnson.
A while back, I got invited to a friend's house, and he had cooked for me and some of his other friends. And when I say cooked, I mean like he went all out. You know, it was about 6 of us all together, right? But this is like multi-course, 5 hours of preparation, been cooking all day type thing. So by the time we get there, there's a whole spread across the table. There's stuff that he's pulling out of the oven. And we were touched that our friend wanted to do this for us, right? Took his own money, used the skills that he had to make good food, to have a good experience, have a good meal with us, right? And so, you know, we sit down. And we sort of like half plated already, you know, when we sit down. And as soon as we get ready to eat, I guess he didn't pay his light bill because as soon as we get ready to leave, the lights go out, right? And we were, when I say we were ready to eat, I'm talking about napkin in and everything, chair all brought up and stuff. And then the lights pop off, right? And then he doesn't mention it at all, right? I'm scooping my chair up and the lights go out and he don't even go, ooh, like nothing. He just, y'all, let's eat. And it is pitch black, okay? And in my head, I'm like, why? How often does this happen that you're not gonna say anything at all? Not acknowledge it one bit. And so then, like, I'm sitting in the dark and I'm looking around. I can't see anybody, but I'm looking around. You know the way you try to meet eyes when something wild happens and everything. And then after like a couple seconds, he was like, wait. I'm waiting to hear why. Maybe it's a breaker issue. Maybe it's just, you know, the block or something like that. And he's like, wait. Let's say grace. To be fair, when I say grace, I bow my head and close my eyes anyway, but it's different when the darkness is not your choice, right? There's something about saying grace in the dark that's genuinely menacing, okay? Because it's a prayer over your meal, but if it's pitch black and you hear somebody else go, Lord, please bless this food for the nourishment of our bodies, you're like, this one doesn't sound right. I don't like that. And it must happen a lot because not only does he not address it, but he is going with his fork and knife, and he's the only one out of us that's got any rhythm going with the plate, okay? Because he chose the right friends to do this in front of, because he doesn't mention it, so we don't want to mention it because we don't want to feel rude, you know? We out here treating broke like a country, like I wouldn't want to offend his culture, you know what I'm saying? Like, if eating in the dark is part of his customs, let's go ahead and acquiesce. And so we're all in the dark, and I could have sworn I knew how to use a fork and knife. I was positive, because I've been doing it my entire life. But it's not until you're in the dark that you realize, at least me, I have no idea where my mouth is, because we already had some peas and carrots and some mashed potatoes on the plate, right? But like I said, this is all like Thanksgiving style and everything, all family style. So a lot of the dishes are in other containers on the table. So I'm just trying to start with what I have. So then I go to scoop up some mashed potatoes and then I stab myself in the cheek, right? So and he had done a good job with the mashed potatoes because they were nice and buttery, which meant I couldn't tell if I was bleeding or not, because it was just, because I had hit it hard. I got two prongs in the mouth and 2 prongs on the cheek, but I'm like, that got me good. I need to slow down, right? Because you're not really thinking about how fast your hand is moving when you try to eat. So then I'm like, let me go ahead and attack the peas. But the peas, I can't find my spoon, right? So the peas are gonna have to go with this fork, and they are slipping. I'm imagining they're going right off the plate. And so I'm trying to stab for some peas, but everybody can hear me just clinking, just hitting plate, right? And finally, I feel a little thunk. That's a carrot. So then I lift up slowly. I bite a carrot. It's hard because he didn't actually cook everything well, just the mashed potatoes. So now I'm eating bad food in the dark, right? Because every time I do get a bite of something, the food is still hot because he did a good job of plating, right? So there was a little bit of chicken, little chicken thigh that was already on the plate and stuff. So I cut that up a little bit, put the chicken in my mouth. But now I didn't realize how hot it would be because I couldn't see steam, right? So now I have burned my tongue in the moment and I'm doing that. And I'm not the only one, because he is the only one hitting any of this with rhythm. Yeah, I mean, like his fork, you can tell his fork slicing where it's supposed to slice, that he's scooping where he's supposed to scoop and everything. And everybody else, I'm assuming, is just making noise, because there are some, I don't hear any chewing. So I feel like the person next to me was just like, because the meat was tough, right? And so then, like I said, it was like Thanksgiving family style and stuff. So then our host pops up and is like, I forgot some of the cranberry sauce. Let me go up and get it. And for as adept, okay, he gets up and all we hear is, ow. I'm back. And so I know that I'm making an attempt to eat. I'm doing my best, right? But then apparently someone else is, because from the other side of the table, I can hear someone, because once again, it's family style. I hear somebody, hey, sheepishly, hey, you don't need to whisper, it's just dark. Hey, real quick, okay. Sorry. Can somebody pass the green beans? And so then the person who thought they had the green beans starts feeling for the container, right? So now we hear them plopping along the table and everything. And then they finally grab it, and then they from over here, who wanted it again? And instead just saying their name, they're like, over here. So then we had to get the green beans across the table, Marco Polo style. And I could feel people passing it past me, but I didn't want to be involved, right? I didn't want to have anything to do with this whatsoever. And so then I can see, no, I can't see anything, but like I can tell that the person to my left is trying to reach for it from the person from my right. And so I'm like, I don't need to help, I just need to lean back. But because they can't see, they lean forward and just grab my face. And then they're like, is this it? I'm like, no, it's not. And so I push their hand forward. They actually grab, I'm assuming, the casserole platter. And then I think they dropped it a little bit, because then I feel a hot splash, right? So I get a hot splash, boom, right on the face. And I'm just like, oh. They get the green beans over to that side of the table. Turns out it was yams, okay? So, and when you go to take what you think is gonna be green beans and it's yams, it's a texture you'll never forget, right? No one was ready. And so once I get like hot splash, because it was whatever it was, it burned a little. I was ready to go, and it had been some time, you know what I mean? Like, most meals only take, 15, 20 minutes to really eat until you get full anyway, and it had been however long it had been, I don't know. And so I'm ready to go, but I don't want to be the first one. So then I'm not good at it, but I try to throw my voice. A little bit like, well, this has been so great. And obviously everybody felt the same way, because then as soon as I scoop my chair to get back, everybody else get ready to get up, right? And so we all start getting up and we thank him for cooking and everything. And then we feel our way for the door. And as soon as we open the door, a bunch of hallway light spills in. I'm like, why didn't we just... This was wholly unnecessary. And so I go to leave, and as I'm leaving, I pass a mirror in his lobby, which is the first look I get of my face. I haven't looked like this after I've eaten since I was a baby, all right? Because I got mashed potatoes here. I knew about those, right? But then I got a little bit of like chicken right here, just a couple of strands of chicken. And then this was gravy. So I got splashed with hot gravy coming down my face. That's why I vet people now. Like now when people offer to have me over and cook, I ask some of their friends, I'm like, hey, have you been over there before? Are they a good cook? Do the lights stay on? Things that you just need to know before you go. You know it's a really, really beautiful thing. Black women are having an incredible summer. This is phenomenal, right? Like just in the Olympics, Lauren Scruggs is the first black woman to win an individual medal in fencing. And not only do I just love seeing black people succeed, I love seeing black people succeed at stuff I didn't know we did. So if you don't know what fencing is, because I didn't know. It's basically when people cosplay Bridgerton, all right? Okay, so it's a mix of stuff. So like, when people go on a padded cell, right? They do that, but they wear the cell, okay? So they go ahead and wrap themselves in like a padded cell and stuff, and then they get that stance, right? They get that long stance, and then they got their little sword is thin, and then they sort of try to musketeers each other until one of them get the most points, right? I still haven't figured out why they always do it. To me, it would just make more sense to have it and be like, ah! Like that seems like you really get some points just really coming at somebody, right? And I thought, as I thought about it more and as I learned more about the sport, which I still don't know very much, I thought to myself, man, I probably could have been pretty good at fencing if I had applied myself, because I grew up in the South with black grandma. So I'm used to the sound of... Because my grandma and I had this thing, right? Like if I was really acting up, if I was bad enough, right? She would tell me, go outside. There's a dead bush, and go ahead and pick your switch. And if you don't know what picking a switch is, if you were born after Child Protective Services, picking your switch was a form, after you've been acting up and go out there and pick your switch, it was a form of psychological torture, because you would get out there and then you trying to pick the switch most likely to break. Because you're like, all right, let me see. I'll let her get 3 good licks in, but then it'll snap and she'll be like, let bygones be bygones, right? And so you go out there, and I would go out there, I'd be testing them. I'd be like, that one got too much bend to it. Let me guess. And so then you bring your switch back to your grandma, and then she go to pop it a couple times, and just out of reflex, you start, whoo, whoo. It's hot, right? I think if my grandma had whooped me just a few more times, I really could have been a medalist in fencing. Like, I could have been like... And then, Lauren is amazing, but you also have Simone Biles. The most decorated gymnast of all time. She won again today. I thought they were done. She won with the vault. A lot of people are amazed at how high, how elegantly, just the way that she moves through the air, the strength that she has, the grace in her movements and stuff like that. And some people are surprised at how high she can go and all that stuff. I'm not at all. I'm surprised that she comes back down to earth. Because I saw just a picture of her doing the vault, and when she flew, I was like, y'all, she gone. She going to space. Incredible. Like, Simone will get me so hyped up. I remember the first time I saw her. First time I ever saw her perform at all in one of her events. And I got so hyped, I tried to do a cartwheel. That's what I can't stand with people that are good at stuff. They make it look easy, and then you do it, and then you almost snap your whole spine. Because she did some routine where she was like, boom, 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 and she was just everywhere and nowhere at the same time. She was flying, she was coming down, and then she got done, and I was like, ooh, that's so cool. And then my back hit the wall. I just started sliding down. Even outside of Olympics, you got Kamala Harris. Joe Biden steps aside, Kamala takes up the mantle. She is a presidential candidate and everything. And, you know, when she enters the race, she's actually polling slightly higher than Biden was, right? Really like giving Trump a run for his money to a certain degree. Like she's polling a little bit higher. And then in the time since, she's been polling, ticking up and everything. And there's just been so many instances of like let's say she's on camera or something. This happened a few days ago. She was walking up the stairs already. An improvement, right? She was walking up the stairs to the plane that was waiting for her, and a reporter yelled, right? A reporter was like, oh, I'm like trying to answer, you know, get her to answer a question. And she turned, because she heard him, she turned. She turned because she heard him, right? And then he's like, have you picked a VP yet? And she went, no, not yet. And then she keeps walking up. Now, this may not be a big deal to some, but if you are a Democrat, it's a lot more multitasking than we've been used to in a long time. She can walk, she can hear, and she can talk at the same time. That's wild. I'm not saying it's new, but it's been a minute. And just when it felt like her campaign couldn't get any more momentum, Trump went to the National Association of Black Journalists. And I want to say something real quick, and I really want you to hear me when I say this, all right? For real. Please, right? Please hear me when I say this. I think that it's important, no matter who you are, because other countries are better at doing this than we are sometimes. No matter who you are, I think it's important for someone to go where most people oppose them and express their ideas. I think it's important because it's important for us to have discussions that are real. A discussion where the person who believes the thing said the thing to you, and you're not hearing it secondhand from someone you already agree with. Part of why we are the way we are right now is that people don't really want to listen to someone that they are diametrically opposed to. They want to hear from someone they already like, but someone you already like tends to believe what you believe. So then we're playing telephone with each other's ideas sometimes, right? And so I do think that it was good what he did. He went to a place where he was not gonna be lauded over, was not gonna be like babied with what he's trying to say. He went to a place where he was opposed. I think it's good what he did. He just shouldn't have done this. Do you see what I mean? You know what I mean? Because he went to the National Association of Black Journalists, and this is my thing. A lot of people didn't really talk about this, but they were opposed within the group if he should come or not. There were some people that were like, we shouldn't platform him. I can't believe y'all are even inviting him. And then there were other people that said, hey, look, this is a presidential candidate. We need to hear out whatever it is he has to say because he could potentially become the president. So you had both those ideas bouncing back off of each other, bumping heads. And then you had me. I was in a very particular camp, which was... let them cook. Because, you know, this dude rolls up and pretty early on, I say first 3 minutes, this dude said she was Indian and then one day she just turned black. He said turned black. And I was like, Donnie, what else you got? That's a little while later, he hit it. He hit it. I didn't know if it would come up again. I've been waiting. He hit it. He was like, the immigrants are coming and they are taking the black jobs. I've been wondering what a black job was since the debate because he said at the debate and nobody called him on it. Nobody caught it or anything. Black jobs. And then one of the women up there, because it was 3 women interviewing him. 3 black journalists were interviewing him. And one was like, sir, what is a black job? And then he was like, a job anybody could have. You know, and look, I don't know Kamala. I don't know anybody on her campaign or anything, but I know that they had to be watching. They had to be watching that the way that we watch Powerball. Just sitting there like, say turn black again. Say turn black, say turn black. One more time, please, please, please. Turn black, turn black. I'll be happy with a Negro. Can we get a Negro? Turn black or Negro, please. I don't know if you've been following this. Maybe not. I just realized how white this room is. I mean, it's pop culture. You probably heard about it. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching this whole Drake and Kendrick. My. What a time to be alive. Okay. All right, so Drake and Kendrick, they are rappers, sir. They're rappers. Okay, I want to make sure everybody, and I'm not acting like I know. You might bump Kendrick all the time. You might be a big Pimp a Butterfly fan. You know, Just checking. So, Drake and Kendrick's relationship actually goes back way further than people realize, because Drake brought Kendrick with him on tour when Kendrick was like just starting to pop, but Drake was already a big deal, right? And it seemed like they were cool. You see these old interviews, they're in pictures together, they have such nice things to say about each other, and then along the line, something changed. Something happened. And we don't know what that thing is really, but they both started to kind of like go at each other in small ways. And some people take it all the way back to the Control verse. Kendrick did a verse in a song on, it was actually a Big Sean song. Big Sean is a rapper, sir. I just want to, all of these are just names, and I want to make sure that we're all up to speed. So he did a verse on a Big Sean song called Control, but it blew up so much it became Kendrick's verse. It became the Control verse, which is crazy. And in that verse, he went at everybody. He called people out by name, you know? And he said, I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you. I'm trying to make sure that your fans don't even love you anymore. They love me so much. I'm coming for the crown. I'm coming for everything, right? And just about everybody thought that it was actually pretty dope. It was actually like, okay, hip hop as a sport, like hip hop as, you know, a fun thing, a contest to see who's actually the best, because everybody calls themselves the best on every song. Eventually, someone has to be the best. You know, every rapper believes that they're the best, and they say so in their music. A lot like how one city will have several First Baptist churches. When you look around, you're like, one of y'all has to actually be first, right? How can y'all even all claim to be first? This is confusing. You know? And so he releases the Control verse. Now, this is something, maybe this is where it started. It's where a lot of people say it started, but maybe it was something else. But Drake seemed to take some sort of issue with the love that Kendrick was getting for that verse, with him being called out, even though he's someone that helped, you know, Kendrick out in the beginning. But even in interviews, Kendrick explained himself. He said, like, this is a contest to see who's the best. It's all love, right? But Drake has, I'm trying to be fair. Drake has a lot of feelings, and you can tell because he has a lot of albums. And there are feelings on every one of those albums. And some people don't have several albums worth of feelings. Some people only have 4 or 5 albums worth of feelings, you know? And some people decide when to let it out, and he just lets it out on a pretty tight schedule, a pretty regimented schedule of release to let out all of his feelings, you know? And he said, he's like, I just didn't like it. It didn't feel sincere. I just didn't vibe with the whole thing. Because then I saw him later, and he was all nice to me. Yeah. He said in his interview, it was all love. It's just a contest. And then from there, they had like a weirdness. And then there's like little things. You can listen to certain songs where Drake seems to be like digging right at Kendrick, but in a way where you have to really look at it and wonder, right? Not saying his name. And then Kendrick even does a little bit of the same. But even after a little bit of this had kicked off, they still worked together 1 or 2 more times, right? Because Drake was on Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick's album, and Kendrick was on Take Care. So there's still at least a professional relationship there to some degree, right? Fast forward a few years, and Drake's really big. And when I say really big, he's like what Bad Bunny is now, he was back then, like top in the world, right? Everybody wanted to be Drake. Everybody wanted to sing a little bit of Drake. He was #1 on Spotify. Every time he released, it was a big deal. And so some people, admittedly, were very jealous of Drake. You know, there were people who started to go at Drake a little bit. And Drake is a good writer. He may have writers that he works with. He may have... But he's also good. It's like when he's making music, everyone in the room is good. I'm trying to give him his I'm trying to be objective, and y'all are trying to lean me into a way that's... But he's good, and so, Meek Mill is a rapper. Sorry, Meek Mill. Because that one wasn't a name. I just want to make sure that at no point you don't think that this is like punctuation or anything, because the names are going to get weirder as I go, right? Okay. Meek Mill came at Drake, and Drake really, truly, even if you hate Drake destroyed Meek Mill. He destroyed Meek Mill so bad that Meek Mill had to go back to jail just to level out some of that street cred. Because if you remember, Meek Mill went back to jail for a while on like this weird aspect of probation that they even tried to get changed as a law. So then Meek Mill became this like face of changing incarceration and changing the criminal justice system, everything, because he had to do something else for a little while because Drake really ate him up. All right. And so more time passes, and there's still not much between Kendrick and Drake in this moment, right? And then Drake gets into it, and I want to be clear because a lot of people sometimes feel bad for Drake in a way that I want to be clear. He does start a lot of this stuff. He does like have a little thing in a song that implies that your wife is unfaithful, and then when you come at him directly, he's like, what's with all the hate? I'm all love. It's like, no. The best way I can describe it is that Drake kind of fights like a cat. And some rappers fight like dogs. And so, he'll do a little paw and he'll be like, what's the issue? And so Drake went at Pusha T, which was a true mistake. This is the thing about people like Pusha T, right? You don't want to mess with anyone who's actually had a hard life. Drake grew up in Canada, grew up with, this is my thing. A lot of people come at Drake for, they come in at a way I don't like. They come at him in this like colorism way where he's like, you're not really black because you're half white. I don't roll with any of that. I just truly think, but you see what I'm talking about. I'm not, y'all are trying to get me to do something I'm not doing. I'm just saying it's very hard for a rapper to seem hard, right? When they have not been through what other rappers have been through. Like it's hard to go hard when everybody knows you had health care. Because I'm not saying there aren't hardened criminals in Canada. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that if somebody knows that anytime you were sick, you could call a doctor. It just takes a little bit of the wind out of the sails of like, I'll kill you. It's like, yeah, but if I hurt you, you go to a doctor immediately. Like, so anyway, Kendrick is still off doing his thing, releasing amazing music, but Drake gets into it with Pusha T, which was a mistake because he told Pusha T, he's like, I got more money than you, I got more women than you, I'm more famous than you'll ever be. And then Pusha T said, you have a son. He released the fact that Drake had a son, which people didn't know, on a track that's cover was Drake in blackface. Everything about what Pusha T did to Drake is why you don't get involved with people like Pusha T. You're a part of me felt bad for Drake. Drake was probably like John at the mouth and everything and didn't know he'd do research. Drake is sitting there like, guys, I thought we were rhyming. I thought I thought we were making music. What is this? And so anyway, now Drake perceivably takes care of his son. And, you know, whatever. And so fast forward some more, and you would think that Drake had sort of learned his lesson of like, man, I shouldn't throw stones when I might have a lot of kids. And for his part, I will say this, for his part, every time somebody comes at Drake, he does come at them pretty hard, pretty heavy. And he does release music that his fans love, and there are a lot of his fans. I'm saying that's something that I thought about going into this thing, where I was like, he always does really try to like give you something, but what he gives is twofold. Drake is usually trying to give you that sort of earworm, trying to give you that thing that takes you to a place beyond the beef. So now people will still play back to back and songs that were responses to beefs he's had in the past, just as songs to enjoy, you know? And so this year, Drake and J. Cole started, they started doing appearances together. Like J. Cole would pop up at Drake's concert. And J. Cole is also someone who I genuinely believe is one of the most talented, phenomenal, musically inclined artists that I've encountered. I really enjoy his music. I don't know him as a person, and I think he's amazing, right? So he is on a couple of Drake songs after they appeared together last year, and it made me listen to those songs. I was like, oh, J. Cole, okay, because I admittedly I hadn't listened to Drake in a long time, because I only have a certain amount of feelings. I feel like I got pretty far. I feel like I listened to several albums, and then at a certain point, I was like, I feel grown. Like, And anyway, they do a song together, and then they do a song called First Person Shooter. And in First Person Shooter, they're going back and forth about how great the era is and how great they are. And First Person Shooter is a fantastic song, right? And then J. Cole in the song says, you'll forgive me if I'm getting it wrong, but he says, maybe something like, we're the top top two, three, okay. And then he was like, is it Kendrick, is it Aubrey, or me? Because we're the big three, like we started the league. But right now I feel like Muhammad Ali, right? And I guess Kendrick heard that and took it as a personal affront. I wouldn't have felt that, like, if two people were like, man, we're the best ever, and Josh is great too, and I wasn't even there, I would be like, oh, thanks. But I'm not built like Kendrick. And so then later we would also find out that apparently Drake tried to get Kendrick on that track. So he knew it was coming up, and he didn't want any part of it. And then I guess he hated that he was mentioned. So then Metro Boomin and Future are rappers that... Because that could have been a label name. I'm not making fun of you at all. I'm just making sure everybody is up to speed, and you're right in front of me. That's all that's happening, right? So Metro Boomin and Future, they release an album called We Don't Trust You, and on it is a track called Like That. Now, Like That is where Kendrick does essentially the control effect on this song. He does a verse that really made me forget it was a song. I don't know what anyone else said on the song, right? And on the song, he says, fuck the big three, it's just big me, right? Which is also, hey, I've always said I want to be the best. I've said it from day one. As soon as people started interviewing me, I said I want to be the best. As soon as people started listening to my music, I said I wanted to be the best. This is not out of character for me. This is the same thing I did 10 years ago, right? So just for me, if it were me, if I was one of them, if I was Drake and I heard fuck the big three, it's just big me, I also wouldn't take it as a personal affront. Because there were other things in the song where he came at Drake specifically. He didn't really have much for J. Cole. And yeah, it just sat for a while. It sat, and everybody was like, ooh, what are Drake and Cole gonna do? And then Cole was actually, I think, the first one to release. He released this song that he's since taken down called 7 Minute Drill, and he went at Kendrick in the song. And then he took it down, and a lot of people clowned him for it, but it's something that even, I'm not being a revisionist here. I said this when it happened. I was like, I respect the fact that he took it down. Because it's not something he really wanted to do. And the internet is all gas, no brakes. The internet will get you to mess up your life. Do you know what I mean? People you don't know are like, I wouldn't take that if I was you. What you gonna do? Huh? Do something, huh? Huh? People who are very safe at home, I wouldn't, if I was you, ooh, I'd go at his neck. I'd eat him alive if I was you. Do something, Jermaine, do it. Do it. And so he took it down, and he even said, he's like, I didn't feel like doing it, so it's not even good. I kind of just went at him a little bit, and it's true. In the song, he doesn't even say anything that bad. He's just like, one of your albums was boring. I won't even say which one. And then he took it down because he said, I don't know, this felt corny. And I respected the hell out of that. Very few men, grown men, famous men, powerful men, very few ever apologize. Very few ever apologize without being made to, with the threat of losing their money, losing their fame, losing something. Very few men. So I respect that, and people clowned him to no end. But then the actual beef between Drake and Kendrick started, and that was a lot. Because Drake released a song called Push-Ups, and he didn't just go at Kendrick, he went at a bunch of people and, implied that Kendrick's wife was unfaithful, that his son might not be his and everything. And people are like, ooh, what's Kendrick gonna do? What's gonna happen, right? And then, he releases another song, and this song is AI. This song is Drake with the late Tupac and Snoop Dogg, and it's going at Kendrick. And some people had their feelings about that. But then, oof. On a random morning, I was, it was right about the time I was supposed to say my prayers anyway. You know your morning prayers? Thank your God for waking me up this morning, right? And Kendrick dropped a song called Euphoria. And I think when it happened, a lot of people, including me, was like, oh, this is an actual rap beef now in the way that we had in the 90s. These dudes do not like each other. And Kendrick says he hates him in the song. He says, I hate you. He said it a lot. He said, I hate you a lot. He did artistically, but he was like, ooh, I hate you. Ooh. Ooh, I hate you. Ooh, right? And, woof. It was a lot, right? And then, Drake released, Kendrick released one. He released so many, I actually lost count. So then he released a song that I didn't even get to fully digest because he released, and then Drake released his response. And this was what Drake had been waiting for. This was all these, in my opinion, all these years of I was nice to you, and then you came at everybody, including me, and all I'm doing is writing my feelings down in albums and making money. And I just want to be number one. I just want to be the best with feelings. I want to be the best. And so he just took everything that he had, and he put it in a song called Family Matters, right? And 20 minutes later, Kendrick released a song called Meet the Grams, which was a real play off Family Matters. And And he had said in 616 before, he was like, have you ever thought about the fact that like people in your camp are working for me, that everyone hates you so much they feed me information about you, and that there's no way that you're going to win this because I write so many songs, because all I do is hang out with my wife and my kids and I write, Drake. This is all that I do. I enjoy this. This is my favorite thing to do, is just sit at home and hate you and write songs about you and how much I hate you, so I can go forever. This will never be over. We can chill. We can just go back and forth, and I'll release 20 for every one that you release. You keep saying that it's a 1v20, and it is. It's one of you, and it's 20 songs of me every single day until the both of us die. This is old black man hate. You got to understand, this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen with people under 60 almost ever. This is old, old. We knew each other during the civil rights movement hate that he brought to this battle. And Drake was like, guys, I thought we were rhyming. And in Meet the Grams, you know, he laid it down. He started the song by talking to Drake's son. Talking to Drake's son, being like, I'm sorry that's your father. Genuinely, I'm sorry that's your father, because I can tell he's not raising you well, because I can tell he's not living a good life and he's not a decent man, okay? And so if you don't understand this right now because you're 6, play it back when you're 18, okay? He said lots of things. He said things that are illegal. He said Drake was doing things that, you can listen to it. Woof. He even had this effect in the song. At the end of the song, when he's like, you lied, he called him a liar several times, and he's like, you lied. I was like, oh, that's too much. And he tells him about himself. He talks to his son, he talks to his dad, he talks to his mom, and then he talks to him directly, right? He also talks to, potentially, a daughter that Drake is not taking care of. Which I was listening to, I was like, not again. I feel like once they find the first kid, you gotta just get all the kids. You gotta just have a whole Graham family, just so you know where everybody is. You know? And people go back and forth. Does he have a daughter? Does he not have a daughter? Some people think they've even found the daughter, everything like that. And I don't know. I mean, it's really bad. It's so bad. And honestly, I never wanted to get to a bad place. This is something, I'll talk about this more in the future and everything, but I have a deep love, but a strange relationship with hip hop, because if everything is in music, it's all good. It's when things leave music that things get bad, you know? And so as much as I joke about Drake and I like Kendrick and I've liked some of Drake's songs, I don't actually want them to do anything to each other. You know what I mean? Now, if what Kendrick is saying about Drake is true, we should lock Drake up. We should lock Drake up. And if what Drake is saying about Kendrick is true, we should lock Kendrick up, all right? Because, you know, it's a rap battle, two dudes that hate each other. Maybe they're lying, who knows? But I'm just saying, this thing, I didn't want to see anything bad happen to either one of them. But when Meet the Grams got released, I don't know what Drake thinks, and I don't know what his life is like, especially right now. But I think back to those battles and those beefs in the 90s, and I wonder if Drake wasn't like, I'd like to be shot, please. Like if you could just plug me one time and then we can smooth the thing over. Because then, as if Meet the Grams wasn't enough, Kendrick released a song called Not Like Us, which is the catchiest way to call somebody a I've ever heard in my life. You be dancing to it, forgetting what the song is about. Like, you know. And then Drake released The Heart Part 6. And I think that's when he lost. I think, because in The Heart Part 6, he's like, this was all part of my plan. We fed you information about me for you to say, so everything that you said is wrong. And don't you feel dumb now that I tricked you? And it just kind of felt like, You know, like what a kid. Okay, you know, like when you play rock paper scissors, and you do rock, and the other kid does scissors, and you're like, and they're like, no, actually, these are lasers. Ba-pow, 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 ba-pow. Because I was like, Drake, if it was part of your plan to feed Kendrick information about you for him to rap about very well, by the way, like even if those are lies, they do sound good and they sound very true. Even if you fed him all this information about you to rap about to then look dumb when it was wrong, why'd you send him that stuff? That's the worst stuff you could send somebody. Hey, tell him this thing about me that's not true but was true once, and tell him I'm a thing that no one wants to be. So now that it's over, because I do hope it's over, I feel like Drake should just release some songs about some feelings.
Milwaukee, make some noise for your headliner, Josh Johnson.
Been very excited. I've been very, very excited. Been highly anticipating a bout that's coming up. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Some of you may have not known that this was going to happen, but in case you didn't, Mike Tyson is going to box Jake Paul, and I'm excited more for the spectacle than the actual fight. I don't know what's going to happen in the fight exactly, but it is one of the wildest encounters of two people punching each other that you could have ever imagined. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, a star, a bona fide star globally of the 80s, fighting one of the most popular influencers that the modern era has to offer. And it just feels like somehow the 80s are fighting the 20s. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul feels like Sylvester Stallone versus Liam Hemsworth. It's like, you're just kind of like, what? How? How are they even close enough in age to have anything to argue about? This is crazy. If you don't know Mike Tyson, I know that some people are too young to have like really watched him fight. I'm too young to have like remembered those fights live. Some of them I wasn't even around for, but I watched the tape and it's devastating. Mike Tyson is one of the most bona fide terrifying people. You know what I mean? Some of the things that Mike Tyson would just say, I'd be like, oh, to even think it, you must be willing to do it. Do you know, like there was a press conference one time where Mike Tyson was sitting there and he's like, this thing, I don't think these guys understand. I'm not here to just box. I'm not here to fight or anything. I'm trying to take their health. Sir. The question was, what has your preparation been for this match? Mike Tyson he's like an embodiment of of like everything like fierce, violent, and dangerous in one person that also very much loves birds. And what's wild about Mike Tyson is that from the time that he was young, right, to present, he had taken a genuine, not only interest, but maybe an obsession with the way that the world works, understanding oneself and understanding the world and how who you are applies to the world, right? So he said some of the most fascinating things around Alexander the Great, around conquerors, around kings, around how to win a mental battle as well as like a physical one, how war works. He has such an understanding of the world. And then he says other things. Other things that are so scary that you're like, sir, just shoot me. Don't want to have to deal with this, you know? And a lot of it bleeds together because it's not my time. Right? I'm not like from that era, but you watch these old compilations of press conferences and interviews and post-fight interviews with Mike Tyson. I was scared for the reporter. Because you have a man who's been training to basically kill a man with his fists, even if it took him 12 rounds, and it took half of one. So by the time you interview him, he's still got a lot of energy. There was one time they were trying to interview Mike Tyson after a fight. They're in the ring with him. They're putting the mic in his face and everything. And he's so amped and he's talking. He's like, y'all don't understand. Like I'm from Sonny Liston's cloth. I'm the most fierce. And he starts describing not just who he is as a boxer, but his training and everything. And then at the end of it, he goes, I don't know, man, what? And I think if I had been the reporter, I'd also be like, nothing. I didn't say anything. Don't worry about me. Mike Tyson press conference was a master class in psychological warfare. He would say things that had you thinking like, oh man, this dude's like out of his mind. Or this dude really wants to kill me and I don't know him. That's gotta be tough as a fighter, to sign up for a fight. And you know we both fight. But one of us loves fighting. And we both like it, that's why we do it, and we're both good at it, that's why we do it. But one of us is so excited to hit, they don't care if they get hit. It's a very different person. Do you know what I mean? Even when you're mad, even when you're angry, and you're like, that's it, let's fight. You're trying to get the aggression out, and you want to hurt the other person. And yeah, maybe you're willing to take a few punches, but you aren't in a fight loving getting hit just so you can give a hit. It takes a different type of person, and Mike is a different type of person. You know? When you look at where Mike Tyson comes from, it's astounding that he made it to where he was. You know, Mike Tyson comes from Brooklyn, was in Bed-Stuy, and then at a young age moves to Bronzeville, and it is devastating because it's not the Brooklyn that you know now. You know what I mean? Like there were no cupcake shops. It was Brooklyn in a way that was let's say the property would be cheap, all right? Like if you were trying to buy, all right? Devastating conditions. And he talks about how there was just you couldn't even go to the bathroom inside sometimes where they were staying and stuff. And all that stuff can make a hardened person. Because he didn't just have to live in certain conditions. He had conditions waiting for him when he got outside. He talked about it. He had to fight. He had to fight all the time. He had to be ready to be tough all the time. People will test you all the time, right? He talked about his first fight. Because like I said, Mike Tyson loves birds. It's truly one of the sweetest things about him. It's one of the things that like gives you a glimpse into the humanity of a person that's only known as being this fierce beast, right? Loving these birds, being gentle with them, caring for them, spending time with them, you know? Really taking care of them. And when he was a kid, there was a kid who took his bird. And he was like, give it back, give it back, give it back. And give it back, I think give it back genuinely in the way that a kid is asking you earnestly from the bottom of their heart. No, 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 please, 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 please give it back, right? And that kid killed that bird in front of him. And then Mike Tyson, I'm assuming, killed that kid because he at least let him remember what would happen. And Mike would get into trouble, and it's easy to say, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, right? All those things can be true. Obviously, you shouldn't be robbing people, you shouldn't be selling stuff, you shouldn't be out here with these people who are on a bad path and everything. But when you have what looks like no other option from those things, how can you expect someone to just know? You drive down the path that's been paved, you know? And so he ends up in like detention centers and stuff like that. And at one point, Mike Tyson meets Customato. And Customato sees him, and immediately he knows. He knows this kid is special and he's different. And not only just because he's built different, not only because he's big for his age, there's just something about him. And he gets the opportunity to like box a little bit. He goes to the gym, he's hitting bags and stuff, spars a little bit. And Customato sees in something in him. And after sparring, you know, as the story goes, they ask this kid who's just sparred with some grown men, how old are you? And then Mike goes, I'm 13. And then these grown men look at each other and go, this nigga at least 30. Like, there's no way. You better put a 0 behind that 13. That's, what? 13. And Customato, to my knowledge, actually adopts Mike Tyson, takes him into his home, right? Not just to train him, but to care for him, to love him, you know? Because all of this energy, all this fierce potential can really go somewhere if you nurture it, right? And then under Customato's leadership, Mike Tyson does become as fierce of a person as Customato thinks he can be in the ring. And Cus believed in him before he believed in himself. I think that's why their friendship, that mentorship is like, when you see it, there's something special about it. Because anyone who sees anything in any of us and pulls it out of you, right, just with their belief, that's a very special thing. And the only people that wish Customato hadn't done what he did are probably Mike's opponents. Because Mike would have fights that were so damn fast. You can see it even in the video, even in some of the amateur fights that were actually on video. You can see in the opponent where they were like, does he have a hammer? What is he doing? That really hurt. No. And then Mike gets older. Mike becomes world champion. Youngest world champion, right? In there with a boxer with real experience, who's also a special fighter, right? But Mike hits him in a way that maybe he's never been hit before. And if you go back and you watch the video of this knockout, I shouldn't laugh, but Mike didn't just knock this dude out. Like, he didn't knock him out cold, right? This dude gets knocked down again, and he's trying to get up, and you can tell that his body is like, dog, we done. Don't. No. You know, like when you're in a bar fighting, your buddies hold you back. That was that guy's whole body. Like, you can even hear the announcer be like, "Oh, he's fighting to get up, but his body won't let him," because his body is like parts of him that didn't get hit. This dude got hit in his head and the chin, and even his feet and his knees and his hips were like, "Look, if you ever want to speak to us again." Don't stack us up on top of each other right now. You need to sit down. And then Mike Tyson becomes world champion. He becomes everything that Custom Model thought he could be. He becomes everything that he knew he was, right? It's a beautiful moment. And then it's important when you think of Mike Tyson to understand that Mike Tyson is America. A lot of Mike Tyson's story is how America works, right? There are parts of this country that if you travel to, you'll think you're in another country for how poor they are, how broken, the conditions that people are living in. You know, it looks like the developing world in some parts of America, and we don't like to talk about it. We especially don't like to take care of those people because it means we have to really look at ourselves to do it. But there are people that come out of those conditions that build themselves up into something that no one else could have imagined based on where they started, right? Mike Tyson is just like America. Mike Tyson is fierce, fearsome, you know, incredibly violent. People in other countries look at America the way that we look at Mike Tyson. Genuinely, if you travel, and I mean really travel, I'm not talking about just go to the tourist spots and the places that are popular to go. If you really travel and you know world history and you go to a place and you ask them about America, right? A country that we've attacked before, you know? They look at us like we have a tattoo on our face. Mike Tyson builds himself up, and he doesn't just get the world championship. He has some very, very impressive fights where you can average his whole fight time out to like maybe a round and a half. He's beating people so fast it's actually upsetting the crowd. I know people who paid a lot of money to go to a Mike Tyson fight and went in the bathroom at the wrong time. Sit there the whole fight card holding it, and then you're like, oh, he's only walking out, I got a second. And then from the bathroom you hear, oh. You're like, oh no. I mean, then Mike goes down a downward spiral. He loses Custom Model. He loses this person that was a mentor, that was a friend, you know? And he tries to find his way, but he's still very young. People forget how young he was when he was Mike, when he was Iron Mike, and he was fearless and he was undefeated, and starts, you know, getting lost in it. And he'll tell you that. He's talked about that. He got lost, right? Goes to jail at one point. Like, this dude is on a dark path, you know? And even, I mean, this is attributed to Mike Tyson. I don't know if he actually said it like this, but he was like, I was a baby. And you gave me millions of dollars to punch people in the face. And you didn't think this was going to go off the rails somehow? Like, you didn't think that this was a bad idea, maybe? No. That's who's fighting. This guy who's relentless, you know? So much fear. Imagine you're in the ring with Mike Tyson and he won't stop staring. Just the face-off, just watching the face-off, you would see it in his eyes. He's like, I would very much like to hurt someone today. And legally, it's you. And he was fast, and his movements were jerky, but they were quick, and they clearly hurt, because some very big men did not get up. He would hit people so hard sometimes that you'd be like, I think that guy's dead. And then he'd twitch, you'd be like, he's all right. That's who's fighting. And then you have Jake Paul. One thing people need to understand about Jake Paul, if you don't, he's very much, we are in Jake Paul's time. Whether we like it when I say that or not, he's having his Mike Tyson moments right now. World famous around the world. People tune in from around the world. They watch his fights, they watch his YouTube videos. This dude is a true bona fide star, right? And we can argue about if he's as popular as Mike was back then and why the internet is different, but he is very popular, you know, and he loved boxing. He feels like boxing saved him. That's something similar that he has with Mike, because this kid, he got a camera from his dad, him and his brother, when they were young, and it was to film themselves while they were doing football so that they could improve, right? Which I don't know how that works. I don't play enough football. Like, if I did that and tried to tape myself playing football to improve, I think I would just be like, this is where I got hit. And this is when I hit the ground. I think that's all I did. I don't know if, was that right? Is that how you do it? And so him and his brother start making videos, like little YouTube videos, whatever. They're putting them online. They're getting some looks every now and again. But then Vine came out. And if you don't know what Vine is like TikTok granddaddy. And they start making Vines, and they get very popular almost overnight. They are huge on Vine. Everybody thinks they're funny, and they love to follow them. They want to know what they're doing next. They're getting all this money, endorsements, everything. At one point, Jake Paul is on the Disney Channel. I don't really know what he was doing, but it was quick. And then they start posting on YouTube, and they start getting millions of subscribers on YouTube. These kids are bona fide popular, and they understand something that maybe the rest of us just don't, and that's why they are where they are. They understand internet culture. They understand marketing and business. They understand the way that the world is turning, right? And it's the age of the influencer, right? And a lot of people want to be influencers. Some people don't want to be. You can accidentally become famous, and that's a terrifying thing. You become famous in a way that you really didn't mean to, you know? You're just living your life. But somebody puts a cell phone on you, or you don't know you're in someone's shot, and you trip weird, and you go, and now you're, like that's who you are as a guy. And then people see you in the world, and they're like, hey, we love you, dude, we love, that's our favorite. Man, keep killing it, dog, keep killing it. But before you know it, just one thing, just one meme, just one moment catapults you to this level of fame that no person can be prepared for. Whether you're Mike Tyson in the 80s or you're Jake Paul now, people don't understand that, like, fame that you weren't even trying to get can mess with your mind, right? And so Jake Paul was on a dark path as well. He was probably headed for a bad place, and then he started boxing, and he loved it. And boxing, to a degree, saved him. And so he's out here boxing, you know? And at first he starts fighting like YouTubers, like fellow YouTubers, because that garners attention. Because sometimes you see two people who don't like each other, and you're like, man, it would be kind of funny if they fought. And this is the thing about us. We as people love a fight. Whether we like to admit that about ourselves or not, we love a fight. I've been walking down the street and seeing kids on the park sinking threes from far away, Steph Curry level, right? And I'm like impressed, and I maybe watch him do two more, and then I'm like, he's getting it in. He'll be fine. But if I see a fight in the park, I stop. Because I'm wondering, you know? But no, we're in this age where I think people sometimes want to be famous more than they want to do something. You know, and that's where you get some of these things, some of these imitators of Jake Paul, of Logan Paul, and stuff like that. There was a kid whose story, like, it blew my mind. Basically, there was this kid doing these pranks, and they were like barely pranks. It was just being obnoxious. It was just being like horrible to people and messing with people to try to get a reaction out of them. Because not only are we the new like influencers, everyone, all of us, all the time, it could happen to any one of us, but because of how people become influencers, because of how people get popular, they are our paparazzi now. You're just living your life, but now you're in someone's video and they're trying to make you act a certain way. That's not what we signed up for, you know? You should at least be rich to have that happen. And so this kid was making this video, and he was messing with this guy in the mall, and he was following him around, and he was just like, not just being annoying, he seemed like to also be intimidating him a little bit, and he was really following him, trying to get him to answer some question or something. And finally, this little guy, he's like a very small guy, and he did not look well, right? He finally goes, stop. stop, stop. And then he pulled out a gun and shot him. And I am praying that's not him. This dude pulls out a gun and he shot him. There's this loud bang in the mall and people start screaming and running and everything. But from the vantage point of like the person who, because he posted it himself, the kid, the influencer who was making the prank video, posts the thing and he's coming at him and the guy's like, stop, 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 bang. And then as soon as you hear the bang, this kid, the prankster goes, oh! And to be fair, there's no cool way to get shot. But he goes, oh! And he hits the ground, and that guy walks off, and obviously he gets arrested and everything. They explain the situation. I believe he got released. And then this kid goes to the hospital. He's fine, right? He's fine. He got shot in the side, and he's fine. But when they ask him about it, they ask him how he feels about the fact that this thing happened. Like, is it change how he's gonna make content? He got more followers from it happening because it got on the news and people wanted to see the kid that got shot and they wanted to see the other stuff that he did. So he did get more popular, right? And they wondered how he felt towards the gunman. This guy shot you and you were being annoying, but did you deserve to be shot, right? And then this kid sitting in his hospital bed, his dad, by the way, is furious. His dad is like, there are people saying my son deserved to be shot. My son's just a kid, right? And this kid sitting in his hospital bed, when he's asked these questions, goes, it is what it is, dog. Like, which I can't tell, is that a good attitude about it? But it lets me know it's not just a few people. It's not just a few individuals. We're in an age, and it's an age of if I can be popular, maybe I can be safe, maybe I can be liked, maybe I can be something, whatever it is. But it's apparently worth being shot over for some people. And make no mistake, Jake Paul is America. I don't know how it feels to have me say that, but Jake Paul is America. A lot of what America embodies is what Jake Paul is, right? America is business, usually business first. We can worry about being a country later. It's business, and it's fame, and it's money, and it's influence, right? You go to some of these backdoor meetings that some of these world leaders have when America convinces them to do something. We don't know how they do it. Maybe it's with money. Maybe it's with other things. Maybe they're like, hey, look, we'd hate for something to happen to your whole island. Influence. See what I mean? And so now you have these two boxing, and people don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, there are people that want Mike Tyson to hurt Jake Paul very badly. And then there are people who just want to see a fight. They just want to see what it would look like. You know what I mean? They just want to see what it would look like if, like, that guy from The Breakfast Club fought Timothy Chalamet. Like, just... They just want to see two generations go at it. You know? Because let's be honest, it's an odd fight. You know, Jake Paul has fought former MMA fighters. He's fought former NBA players. He's fought YouTubers. He's fought one established boxer, maybe two pro boxers that I know of, right? Because I don't know his entire record. But he said that the thing that made him do this, the thing that made him push for it and create it, was he did some ayahuasca. And when he did the ayahuasca, he said he saw himself fighting Mike Tyson. And if I'm being honest, taking ayahuasca and seeing yourself fighting Mike Tyson sounds like something Mike Tyson would say doing ayahuasca. Like, I could more clearly see Mike Tyson doing ayahuasca, and he's like, I saw myself fighting Jake Paul. I don't know, man. I had to think to myself, you know, if I did ayahuasca and I saw myself fighting Mike Tyson, I'd probably have to sit back and be like, maybe heroin's the answer. Like, I don't know. This ayahuasca is not it for me. No, thank you. You know? And so, as soon as he had that vision, though, he put it into motion. And that's the marketer, that's the businessman, that's the promoter in Jake Paul. He saw this thing and he had to create it. That's also America, by the way. You go to other countries and you're like, oh, I have this big dream of doing this thing. A lot of countries are set in their ways, right? America is properly crazy. We'll let you do anything, fundamentally. And so now they have a press conference. They're together, and Jake Paul's very good at being the heel, you know what I mean? But it's hard to be the heel when you're fighting Mike Tyson. Like, people might be booing you, but he's saying truly upsetting things. Mike Tyson was in a press conference one time, and he was like, look, all I want is for his kids to be watching us fight and see me beat them so bad that they're like, Daddy, no. Hearing Mike Tyson quotes out loud genuinely makes me want to learn Tai Chi. So in case I ever come across Mike Tyson, I can look like I'm about to fight him while also backing up. Like, And some people think that the fight's just a spectacle. Some people think it's a real fight. There are kids who think Jake Paul's got to beat Mike Tyson, right? Jake Paul's a great boxer. Let's see it happen. I'm so excited to see Jake Paul whoop this guy. There really are both sides to this thing. And it's going to be on Netflix, which who knows if that's a mistake. Do you know what I mean? Who knows if they fight and then one of them dies and we're just sitting there like, so... Are we accomplices, or just sitting there, stoic, don't know what to do next, and Netflix is like, are you still watching? Not now, man. You know? And it's a gamble as well. It's a gamble. It's one of the biggest gambles we've seen, because Mike Tyson is, to some degree, putting his legacy on the line. He's one of the most fierce fighters that's ever lived. People talk about Ali and Tyson. When they talk about boxing, they don't really know anything about it. You know those names. And then Jake Paul's putting something on the line, too. It's like, I had this idea, I had this dream of fighting Mike Tyson, and maybe I'm just out of my mind and I'm going to be hurt very badly. And Netflix is putting something on the line, because it's like, will people watch? Will someone die? It's a genuine gamble. And if America is anything, it's a proper gamble. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. I don't know. I admire an aspect of what Jake is doing, because Jake loves boxing. And no one will probably ever give him credit for it, but he is revitalizing a part of boxing. People talk about boxing a little bit more now because of the popularity that he brings in, the new kids that he brings in, and he's putting himself on the line because he loves boxing. And that, to me, is wild. Like, I love hip-hop, but I wouldn't try to battle Kendrick Lamar. Like,
Mira,